Hello, it's Marvin. Welcome back to the channel back on YouTube. The 2024 NFL Predictions Week 18 coming up this week. 7 games on the schedule. A lot of playoff scenarios. A lot of teams to sort out to see who gets into the final spots in the playoffs, as well as we have at least 2 spots up for grabs this weekend and more. After going 7-0 in Week 17, my personal season record is now 68-51. Going into Week 18, 7 games to predict this week. Let's get right on into it. Starting out Saturday night in Pittsburgh, between the Bengals and the Steelers. Joe Burrow against Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, who could be a who could be a player quarterback who could lead his team to the postseason as a wild card team for Steelers. They already are in the wild card spot now. They clinched a postseason berth. The question is, can Joe Burrow and the Bengals get there? They have multiple scenarios they need to do to happen for the Bengals to get in. The Bengals need to win this week, and they also need Denver to lose, and they also need Miami to lose. But I'll tell you what I think about those 2 games shortly, because I'm predicting them this week. But look at the Bengals. Joe Burrow has T. Higgins, and they're going on the road this week into Pittsburgh on Saturday night in a hostile environment. Pittsburgh's going to be loud for them, I think, this weekend on Saturday night for the Steelers. The Steelers know they're a wild card team this week going in. They know they're in. But for the Bengals and Joe Burrow, they have to play great. They can't make mistakes. And Joe Burrow, I feel the Bengals, we haven't talked about them a lot this year because this team has been falling off this year since last year's Joe Burrow injury, and I really thought they would be a team that in the playoffs this year as well, just like it did last year. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened this year. But I think the Bengals, if they go to Pittsburgh and play great, I think they'll make this a game. I think this game comes down to the final play again, maybe even another overtime game, just like last week against the Broncos for them to win. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be tough. And I do think the Bengals maybe play good, but I think the Steelers might be good as well in this one. Both teams will be pretty good in this game. But at the end of the day, I think the Bengals come away with it barely get a win this week. So give the Bengals here, and I do think they get a win. So we have the Bengals here getting the first win Saturday night in Pittsburgh. Next up, we have the Panthers, NFC South, Atlanta Falcons, also NFC South. Michael Penix Jr., who I believe is now the starting quarterback. Kirk Cousins is now on the bench. And talking about the Falcons, this is a matchup for them. Are they going to get in as a division winner? Or will they get in and make a wild card spot? What happens to the Falcons? Falcons, they have a lot to play for. Either win a division or maybe even get in as a wild card. We will see what happens this week, because there's a lot of scenarios for them to play. And with the Panthers not being a good team, I think the Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., I think after losing to Washington last week in overtime 30-24 on Sunday night, 2 nights ago, I think the Falcons need to turn this game up and go into it, play well. If they do what they need to do, I think they get a win. I think they bounce back after losing in overtime last week, after starting a rookie quarterback. And I think they play a little bit better this week. Panthers aren't a good team, but I do think the Falcons play great this week. I do think Michael Penix makes big plays for the Falcons as a rookie quarterback and gets them a win. So I'm going to the Falcons here the win against the Panthers, because the Panthers are not a good team, but the Falcons, they're looking like they want to be a playoff team, but I do think they get a win. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints going in, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield on Sunday afternoon. And the Saints, I don't know a lot about their team. I don't know who their quarterback is. They have had multiple quarterbacks this year for the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, a win for the Buccaneers. They won the division title. They won last week against the Panthers 48-14. Against the Saints, another team in their division who's at the bottom of it in the NFC South. Should be an interesting game to see. I do think the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield, they're the better team. Even if the Falcons win and if the Buccaneers win this week, Buccaneers, all they need is a win to get into the playoffs and win the division. If they lose, I believe they get a wild card spot, I believe, but I'm not positive on that at the moment. But I think Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers, they make plays happen. And Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers, went to the playoffs last year as NFC South Division champions. I think this year they go back to the playoffs as division champions with a win, because the Saints aren't that good. I don't know, like I said, I don't know a lot about the Saints, but I know more about the Buccaneers, because they're that team that's been in the playoffs the last 4 years, and I think they continue that with a win here tomorrow, with a win here on Sunday. So get the Buccaneers to win on Sunday, and Tampa as they finish off, as I think they finished their final 2 wins in the playoffs. Next up, it's my favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs, going against my other favorite team, the Denver Broncos. By the way, the Broncos, like I said, I've been a fan of them since Peyton Manning was there and won Super Bowl 50. Since he's retired, they haven't done a lot, but I do think the Broncos and the Chiefs, this game could be one of those games this week. The Broncos, a win, they're in as a wild card team, as the AFC West would get 3 teams in. For Chiefs, if they win, the Broncos get knocked out possibly, but we'll see what happens though. Because I did say Cincinnati needs a win, and they need Denver and Miami to lose. Who knows? For the Chiefs, we know this. Carson Wentz will probably be getting started. Mahomes and Kelsey and the rest of those stars will be getting the day off most likely because they got the number 1 seed locked up, and they'll get this week off at least. Coming up on Sunday, they should get the following week off with the bye week in the first round. So for the Broncos, it's up to rookie quarterback Bo Nix. But here's my thing with rookie quarterbacks. I don't know if rookie quarterbacks can lead a team to big wins like they need to. And I think that's where Bo Nix will struggle this week against the Chiefs. Carson Wentz, who's been there before, who played for the Eagles, got hurt. Nick Foles led the team to the Super Bowl. That's what I think Bo Nix is going to have to come up and be elite. Playing against Carson Wentz, he's going to learn some things. Playing against a younger quarterback, closer to his experience and who knew how to lead a team. And I think Bo Nix and the Broncos are going to have to do what they need to do to play well. I think this game's going to be a close game at the end of the day. I do think the Broncos might come away with a win, but I think it's going to be a close one. I think this game comes down to a field goal by the Broncos, potentially. And I do think the Broncos get the win with Carson Wentz starting at quarterback for the Chiefs. Doesn't matter what happens. That's why I think the Broncos get a chance to get a win, and I do think they get the job done at home in Denver, as I do think the Chiefs lose to the Broncos for the first time on the road in who knows how long. But give me the Broncos in this one, surprisingly. We'll see what happens, though. Next up, Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith. They're going against the Rams, and Matthew Stafford in LA on Sunday. And this one being one of those games to see, this one's going to be an interesting game to watch. Rams know this. They're the division winner. Seahawks, Geno Smith and Seahawks, they need to win to make the playoffs as well. They need the Falcons, I believe, to win. Falcons lose, I think. And maybe even Tampa Bay, maybe, too, as well, to see what happens in those. But if you heard me earlier, I said Tampa Bay and Atlanta both win. But the Rams, they won the division, so the Rams, I don't know if it matters to them. I don't know who they're going to start this week at quarterback. If they do start Matthew Stafford, it might be just to get him ready for the playoffs. And for the Seahawks, I think this is going to be one of the tougher games for them this year. Finishing off the season against the Rams on the road, and that's going to be a tough thing to do. Finishing off a game in SoFi Stadium, a place where it's loud. That crowd, I've seen games on TV this year that visiting teams come in. It's too loud for them. The one team that's been successful has been the Miami Dolphins, and they beat the Rams that night on a Monday night game. Rams just played terrible that game. And overall today, I don't know if the Seahawks can get this job done. I do think the Rams will make the big plays, and I do think the Rams get the win, unfortunately, and that's why I think the Seahawks get knocked out with a loss here in the playoff race in Week 18. Moving on, 2 more games to predict. We have the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins, they're going up against the Jets and Aaron Rodgers this weekend. I did see Aaron Rodgers might get benched this weekend, but I'm not sure about that. The Jets have been the worst team this year in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers. He's been knocked around. He hasn't played well. The Dolphins, though, to win, they could be a wildcard team. We'll see. A lot of things have to go down. But if the Broncos win, like I did say earlier in the predictions, it means the Bengals and the Dolphins will both be knocked out. I do think the Dolphins get the win of this one because the Jets, they've just been terrible. Aaron Rodgers, most sacked quarterback in NFL history. The Dolphins, they're a young team. They know how to get there. They were there last year's wildcard team and lost in the first round to Kansas City in the wildcard round. But at the end of the day, I think the Dolphins more experience as of late. I think they get the job done this weekend on a Sunday afternoon. So give the Dolphins a win there. And the last but not least, final game of the regular season, the Vikings and the Lions. In the NFC North, winner gets the number 1 seed. Loser gets the number 5 seed in the wildcard team with 14 wins. Hard to believe that is going to happen. And if that happens, it's going to be interesting to see. And this game is going to be one of those games I think that's going to come down to the final play. Maybe even overtime, potentially. Sam Darnold, the Vikings quarterback, who knew he could be an elite quarterback when he got to Minnesota this year? For Jared Goff, last year, got the NFC title game, lost to the 49ers. They had to lead in that game last year, but ultimately lost. And this year, the Lions are making it happen. I think the Lions, at the end of this game, get the win, get the number 1 seed throughout the postseason, and make a big run. So give me the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff in this one, as I do think they win a close one, though. We'll see what happens on Sunday Night Football. Quick recap I'm taking this week. Taking Joe Burrow and the Bengals against the Steelers and Russell Wilson on Saturday. In Atlanta, I'm taking Michael Penix Jr. and the Falcons over to the Panthers. In Tampa Bay, I'm taking Baker Mayfield on the Buccaneers over to the Saints. In Denver, I'm taking Bo Nix and the Broncos over the Chiefs and Carson Wentz this week. In LA, I'm taking Matthew Stafford and Rams over to the Seahawks and Geno Smith. In Miami, in New York, I'm taking Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins over the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. And in Detroit, Sunday night, I'm taking Jared Goff and the Lions over the Vikings and Sam Darnold, as I think the Lions get the number 1 seed in the postseason with 15 wins, as the Vikings get the number 5 seed on the wildcard team with 14 wins. If you enjoyed this week's NFL predictions for Week 18, please comment below who you think is going to win this week out of your favorite teams. And don't forget to watch, like, subscribe. Don't forget to tell friends to do the same if they haven't done so yet already. And also don't forget to hit that notification button below so you know when I upload a new video what that means every day. Stay safe and peace out. And don't forget, if you're new around here, next week, postseason prediction videos will be on Thursdays throughout the postseason. And I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Stay safe and peace out. And I'll see you next Thursday with the wildcard predictions. Bye for now and stay safe out there. See ya.